When I walk into a classroom and I really see students that are empowered to own their own learning, I look for students taking the learning goals and really being able to tell the teacher or being asked by the teacher, what will it mean if I'm successful today? And then being able to reflect on their own work to see whether or not they've met those goals.
I think he's dynamic because he changed.
But he's not constantly changing.
I'm looking for classrooms where there's lots of dialogue. Students can bounce ideas off of each other and the teacher, and they do that freely. Like, they do that because that's the best way to learn. Where students are using their devices to get information in real time, if that's helpful to them, they know how to access their resources, and the teacher is sort of a facilitator among that and can ask those higher order thinking questions and then back away and sort of hear the student's response without feeling like they need to impede on that.
So to convey to the students their expectations for a particular lesson or a particular unit, I start off by telling them the learning goals or have them look at examples of different problems, and from that they pull out the success criteria. So for this last unit we did with equations and inequalities, I gave them a few equations and inequalities already solved. And as a class we came up with what are those different skills and the different criteria they're going to need to master in order to be successful at solving equations and inequalities. So when we started solving, you guys came up with this criteria of all these different skills you need in order to be able to successfully solve these equations and inequalities. So you came up with a list of things that these are the skills we have to master if we want to be successful at solving an equation or solving an inequality. If you had to help this student out and you wanted to tell this student, like, what skill do you need to focus on so next time you don't make the same mistake? What skill do you think this student needs to work on? Hunter?
They need to make sure that they're switching their operations, so if they're multiplying, they divide, and if they're adding, they're subtracting.
Okay, because what did this student do incorrectly?
Instead of dividing, he multiplied the 5.
Okay, so this student, the skill we would tell this student to focus on is maybe the next time you solve one of these equations, you have to really make sure you know what inverse operation to use. Every day they're assessed in some way, so they know where they are and where they continually need to grow.
All right, someone raise your hand, tell me, what frustrated you most? Carly. I started with the learning goals and success criteria today so that the students understood what they were going to be doing and why, because I find their motivation is a lot higher when they understand the why of what they're doing instead of just sitting them down and making them write. Explaining why and working with them to understand that why truly drives their motivation.